So today we are here, February 13th, Valentine's Day Eve, and I just want to I just want to express my journey as I build my brand. This is like year like 3, 4. I started my brand as a backup to me doing fashion styling when I was in school. And the way, the energy I felt from creating my brand and having creative direction and allowing my creativity to flow just naturally helped me flourish and become where I am now as I go for my 4 year as a merchandiser with my goal to become a creative director for my brand. It's so much thought that goes into owning a business. But I don't think it's talked about as much when it comes to a creative business and it comes to being a creative every day and allowing your brain to really stay in this energy. There's so much healing that I had to do in order to even be here speaking to you, speaking to me, speaking to anybody. I think that's not talked about enough because there's so much boundaries that's crossed by people who don't understand. There's so much misunderstanding when it comes from people who are expecting you to stay at this level because that's where they met you, and that's where that's where they think you should stay at because that's where they found you at. Helped me realize I was already growing out of my environment. I just want to say it as a disclaimer, but the 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 process has helped me realize that the environment was never good for me in general. Like the intentions that it had for me was just never good for my nervous system. It was never good for my mental health. It was never good for my environmentally ingrained lifestyle that I'm trying to portray and keep up with was not there for me. I feel like the people, the love, the places, the things, the energy was all just non-existent. I had my fill. I feel like I couldn't surpass a certain level where I was coming from. And here I am now in my prime as a junior here at Buff State, and I'm enjoying the process as best as I can. And I've been challenged in many ways, having awards at my previous school that I never even thought, okay, let's put that out there. I never would have thought to get these awards. Being the #1 New York State recipient was crazy, and I'm very thankful and blessed for this, for the awards that I've received at GCC, my previous school. I received at least 4 or 5. I think I'm lying. I definitely was like 8. So the experience for me helped me realize that I have potential to dive into. I just been afraid for so long, and my family already had this level of respect in a way that they just kind of said, well, you're smart, we expect that from you, instead of encouraging words that I had to say to myself. So going back into me realizing that I had to be the healer for myself. I had to heal these damaged parts to even allow the creativity to even flourish the way I wanted to. Building this brand is gonna be emotional, y'all. has opened up so much in my atmosphere. Um, Things that I never even would have imagined. And I've been stuck on this one silhouette. These pieces that I've created through vegan leather. I still like I have I've sat on them for so long that I felt like the inside of me was not creative. Like my finances were fucked up. I couldn't keep a job for some odd reason. I mean, there was so many factors. Um, and when I graduated with my associates, I felt so empty and so vulnerable, and I couldn't understand why. Um, that's when I started to go into therapy, um, which is helping wonderfully. Still got her, but this this experience is very emotional. Um, I didn't see myself even being here. I'm not gonna lie. I started my brand as a creative outlet, as a hobby, something local that evolved into something, excuse me, it's something more for me than I would have ever, I would have ever expected it to be. And it has allowed me to open doors emotionally for myself. And then on top of that, the reassurance from these awards, because I'm truly happy learning the things I'm learning. I'm truly blessed to even be in the position to that I was and still am in. And now I'm here creating a business plan, a business pitch for New York State competition, and I'm beyond nervous because now I feel like, am I really ready? And I feel like that's the same energy I've been holding on to with the swimwear that I've created several years ago. Um, or I was experimenting really. I'm not going to shun out the factors that I was going for. I was trying to find vegan leather the best way I could, and I was looking for something that's not harmful to the environment, which I couldn't release that in the mass because I realized the microbeads in that vegan leather was not good for the environment when you washed it. And this is the type of person I am, just a researcher and trying to make the best for you guys as best as I could. So I'm saying this to say, don't give up on yourself. Because even with me being here, I have hit so many road bumps. I have hit so many distractions. I have hit so many um, hurdles that was just trying to knock me off my block, knock me off my game, knock me off who I am. And that is not me because people project on you when they see you as being a light. That's neither here nor there. This business pitch has put me in a huge perspective when it comes to being serious now because for a long time, the validation I've externally sought for, I externally tried to, impress my family externally, express myself with friends and even relationships. And I find myself as I grow into the creative director that I see myself as, I can no longer allow myself to have external validation when it's something I should be sure about. This is the sureness that's inside me that I should be able to feel without any question of a doubt. And that's the scary part for me because for a long time, as you can see, I'm closing up. For a long time, I have been looking outside because being inside of me was scary. And I mean that in the best way possible. The aspects of me relying on me for a long time was scary because of the environment that I was around and for the people that I was around, these people really didn't have good intentions for my best being. And I mistake that for love. I mistake that for reassurance, I guess you can say. I mistake that for validation. Um, when these people don't even know, my favorite colors. So as I am coming to an important stage of my life, my business, I'm realizing that there's more to me than I've ever imagined. And it's crazy to even think that I've used to look outside of me for this reassurance, for this acceptance, for this beautiful mind that I have, that I've always had. I just allow so much to conscrew my creative direction and conscrew how I should show up in the world, that I've allowed it to be such a heavy burden that I can't even figure out, or for a while I couldn't, because I got it now. But for a while I couldn't figure out how to even be my brand. I didn't want to be subjective. I didn't want to be trendy. I didn't want to be this. I didn't want to be that. And that put me in this box that wasn't experimental, right? Like I felt like because of now me being in this box that I've shaped for myself, I have to be perfect in whatever way that may have been or may be um, for me. And it left me with such, again, a heavy burden that I kept going back to the drawing board. I kept going back to my brand's beginning. I kept going back to points of where my brand should stay, who my target market is. Is this my niche? Do I switch it up? Do I validate myself now to be externally validated um, for my target market, for my people, for my tribe? I haven't even put my foot out there to even be experimental, to even know this. But I was so wrapped up amongst my thoughts, again, of how I wanted to show up in the world. And showing up in the world personally was hindering how I should show up in the world for my business, for my brand. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I go back into how important it is to heal yourself, to truly take your time, love yourself, and this commercial's crazy. And take time for you, because so many times I have doubted myself, and yet the universe has shown that my cup runneth over in tenfold. I am truly blessed. I am truly thankful. I am truly loved by so many. And it took me a while to get to this point. It took me a while to even make this video. So I say that all with love and respect to myself and to you guys, that the processing behind being a creative, especially coming from an environment that is not, intentionally good for black kids, right? Like I come from an environment where, the hood is the hood and you better figure out how the fuck, you get from point A to point B without complaining. And that for me was a lot because I'm a woman, and I felt so heavy. Like I felt like I had to perform because men want this constructed version of you, and then the world also wants this constructed version of you, and then I wanted to be this constructed version of myself, all in one, all in one go. That left me at a very ill mannered standstill. And that's not fair to me. That's not fair to me. That's not fair to you because of the creativity that I harness and hold on to. Like it is. I hold on to a lot of things like that, relationships, family, people. Um, and again, being a creative on top of getting back into the flow of running a business the right way has healed so much empty spaces inside me that I didn't even know was there. I didn't even know that I was ignoring so much of the truth of who I am because I was so scared to come and show up in the world authentically. And then it goes into with me being authentic. What is even that? Listen, it got so deep that I had to rewire my understanding of love because for a long time I was receiving love from people who did not even love themselves. So again, the validation that I was looking for externally wasn't even um, something that could heal me. It was something temporary, and this this helped me see that it's emotional temperance, emotional temperance when it comes to how people showed up for me. And I did not understand that for a long, long time. I could not put in words even what ways these people were showing up for me because I thought it was love. I thought this was proper. And it wasn't. It was just for them to get their foot in the door. It was just for them to receive, you know, what they can receive from me and then leave me at the wayside. It was emotional temperance. And it was due to the fact that I'm not saying these people don't love themselves, but there's a lack there that they couldn't show up for me. So I could just imagine how they was going to, even if they would show up for themselves. And these people probably were doing this subconsciously or consciously. I don't really give a fuck. I'm at a point where I have to continuously show up for myself because I deserve that. I deserve to show up for me in being as confident as possible, as truthful as possible. Understanding this has helped me build my brand in a stronger, more rooted, grounded form. And myself has been more rooted and grounded. I have been in so much more self love activities, workshops, therapy, massages. I have minimalized my life and restarted in a very different way that, again, is shocking me. But emotionally, I realized that I was tired. My first session with my therapist, I just cried and told her I was tired. Um, Holding on again to so much, and no one really wanting you or allowing you to hold on or rest and relax. Everywhere I was going, I felt on edge, like literally on edge, everywhere. Um, I felt everything was temporary. I felt like things were not aligned because I knew eventually it was going to be over. If that makes sense. Again, the temporariness, the temporal. Whoa. So, again, it was a deep understanding that as a creative, it's okay to be patient with yourself because we don't have um, sick days. We don't get, um, mental health days. We have to force that into our schedule, into our lifestyle. Um, for example, me in the morning going to the gym, um, even having a slow rising morning helped me show up for myself better. I know now when I'm uncomfortable, I can read my emotions in a more validated state. And if I was not here, I don't think I would have shown up vigorously as I did. I kept going, I kept following my heart. Even I've lost exes because of the um, I was gonna say validity, but that's not it. I lost exes due to the way I think. I I allowed myself to be in a relationship, but also be available for myself as a brand owner, and I think that threatened the likelihood of me being with someone. Um, but I'm very thankful that I never gave up on myself. If I did and allowed myself to be unhappy, I don't know where I would be. I lived a very rough life, and I feel like unhappiness cannot be my motivator. I cannot get up in the morning and just allow myself to be unhappy. Now, I can rest, that's different, but to be living in a lifestyle where I'm no longer okay and just laying down and taking it, that's not going to happen. I'm not doing that. I can't do that with friends. I can't do that with family. I can't do that with relationships. Like, I'm at a point where it's really do or die. And I hate to say that in this sentence because I hate to use death in any way regarding myself or others. But I do mean this in the most loving way to myself, that there was a form of death if I were to stay into these toxic, committed relationships that didn't have any love, temperance for me. Couldn't do it and won't do it. Didn't do it. I'm here now, focusing, honing in on how to show up for myself on top of being prominent in this entrepreneurship business lifestyle. Going to these workshops, trying to ingrain this true growth mindset into myself. And that is truly how I have came to show up for myself as a creator. And if you guys enjoy this, I will make more of these wonderful vlogs because I share this with my journal. I share this with myself, and I don't really speak on these obstacles and hurdles that I go through. And I think that it's important, especially for us who are Black people, to see that, you know, you can be a hood baby and still grow out of it and not have the mindset of the hood. Because I feel like a lot of us is portrayed in a very negative image when it comes to coming from the city, coming from a rough area, and we are not, we're not patient with ourselves. We don't show up for ourselves how we should. We don't express love how we should. We don't give ourselves the proper nourishments to even be a great person. And I think that is huge because that's how you show up for yourself. That's how you show up in the world. That's how you show up for your job, your career, your business. And I hear so many times, especially where I'm from, that people, Black people, don't have the proper communication when it comes to customer service. They do all of this and all of that and talking shit. And we have to understand that this is because we had this on our mind, which is the business, but we didn't have this on our mind, which is ourselves. And in order for this to flourish, we have to have balance here. So I truly hope this helped someone, anyone. And I honestly adore that I can stay a creative through good, through bad, through hard, through soft. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. Ancestral guidance.